How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Dad Bod Garage. Today we are working on the SHO. Alright, so today we're actually going to be doing the brakes on the Taurus. So this car is known for model years 2010 to 12 to have the brakes are too small for this car and they wear out really fast, and just like everybody else, I have figured this out now. I've had this car for 3 years now, and every year I have to put brakes on it. The first year when I had it, it had power stops on it, but the previous owner wasn't really good to the car, so they were already wore out when I got it. So I went with EBC red pads, and what I found out with those is those are more for the track, and I really hope you like brake dust because you're gonna have more than you need. It's gonna be all down the side of your car. It's absolutely crazy. Fantastic brakes, but I couldn't keep on with weekly car washes. I couldn't keep on top of the brake dust, and as you can see right now, I only did the fronts because the backs were fine. But check this out. So this is a power stop. This is original from when I got the car, and not a speck of brake dust on these wheels. I washed this car a week ago. Now, the whole wheel should be this color. I just took the car to the dealership for a PTU replacement, so they tried to wipe off the ugly, but it's still there. We can see it. We can see the nasty. So, because the back brakes have lasted so long and I've had absolutely no problems with them, I decided to go with Power Stop again. This time we went with their Sport Evolution pads. They're a carbon fiber ceramic performance pad, front and rear, and they're drilled and slotted rotors. This is the Z23 package, and you'll see that these drilled and slots, they're really superficial in this application. In an extreme situation, like on a track, the slots are for clearing debris, and the holes are for venting gases and cooling properties. So just driving around the streets, I won't see much gain from the drill and slot, but the pads is really where the money's at. Those things, they work fantastic, and they barely leave any brake dust. So this whole thing started because I started hearing what I thought was a wear indicator when I would go around a corner. I know that when you have a sound that only comes when you're turning, usually that's a wheel bearing. So coupled with no brake pad left while we're in there, if I'm going to do the wheel bearings, I might as well do the brakes on the way out as well. So I got these TRQ wheel bearings. I got these off A1 Auto, you know, not a sponsor. I think they were 90 something dollars a piece, I think, or for the pair. I think it was $90 for the pair or something like that. I can't remember. I'll put a link in the description for these, and I'll put in a link in the description for these. So without waiting any longer, let's get into it. Pro tip, put the tire underneath the car just in case the jack stand fails. Highly unlikely, but a cheap insurance policy. What we need to do is we need to get all these off. Alright, so we're going to start with the caliper. We're going to take these two 17 millimeters off. Man, who did these last time? It was me. Now I'm going to tie my caliper up with a piece of wire. Whoa. So now's a good time to go ahead and pop that brake fluid reservoir cap off so that it doesn't build any back pressure on that plastic cap, and we can also siphon any out if it's going to overflow. Alright, so let's check out these brake pads. Oh boy, they are pretty smoked. As you can see, they got about 3 mil material left, maybe 2. That's going to be an 18. Little blue Loctite on those. Oh yeah, she was scraping good in the back. We got to get this axle nut off. We got the old earthquake on 1. Let's see if it'll rip this guy off. Woo! All right, our axle nut's off. Now our axle should be loose. Yep. Now all we gotta do is get these 4 bolts out. Alright, this is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. Safety squints on. Okay, okay. It's level 1. Let's bump it up. Let's really blow this socket up. Alright, here we go. Safety squints. And once again, the Earthquake XT coming through clutch. And you can use these to wrap out the bearing, which should come out pretty easy at this point. Should only take a few taps. Let's start by trying a sacrificial hammer. This is a brass, or not a brass, but a bronze. So we'll go ahead, Alright. So now we can take these 4 bolts out for the wheel spindle assembly. Alright, and there's one hub assembly. Alright, now we're going to take the old whiz wheel and we're going to clean up the mating surface for that new bearing. Now I'm going to get another sanding disc because inside here, let me get a flashlight, you can see the crusties. Okay. So we'll get in there, we'll clean that up a little bit too, and then we'll get the new wheel bearing in. Alright, so the old one, the new one's going to go in the exact opposite order. These are pre-packed bearings, these are sealed for life. There's no way to get in here and pack these unless you actually drilled a hole in it or something and put a Zerk fitting, but that's unreasonable for the application. So let's go ahead, we'll line up the splines on the CV axle. This would probably be a little easier if it was straight. So all we gotta do is line up the splines on the CV axle. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's draw this axle in. Okay. I don't want this any easier than it needs to be. A dab will do you. Just a tiny bit. And you always do it on the tip of the thread, that way it runs its way down. Now I will run these down with a socket. Things in, let's go ahead, let's send this home. Send the axle nut home. Okay. That's really tight. And this is that mating surface I was talking about cleaning between the bearing and the spindle. So when you open your package, this is what you're going to have. You have your brake pads, you have premium brake hardware, new boots for your slides and your caliper, and so let's go ahead, let's get these guys depressed all the way back. We'll go ahead, we'll check the slides, we'll see how everything feels, and we'll get it all back together. So I am using your standard everyday cylinder compressor from like AutoZone or something like that. I think they cost like $7 or $5. Super simple. You may see it push out your other cylinder, don't worry. You can go back and forth and get them. You'll get them both. Ooh, there we go. Okay, we got the one. And you're gonna want these almost all the way home because the new brakes are going to take up all that space. Here's the other view from the inside. So you can see how ever so slightly it sends that. There's some crusties on this guy. Let's go ahead, we'll grab our rotor and we will spray it down with some brake clean. So we got our new rotor here and we're gonna go ahead, step off to the side here, douse it with brake clean, get off any of the shipping grease that they have on it when they ship it. Okay, get a little bit of that. Get a little bit of that on there, get her all nice and slidey. There we go. Okay, we got our new guys in there. Slide our cap. Ooh, ooh, oh, yes. They're smooth operating. And, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, so we got our bolts for our caliper bracket. Little dab will do you. Oops. Get with the program, man. Alright. So now we're going to get the new brake hardware on. So this comes with the kit. It is 4 of the identical part. So whichever way it goes, it'll just clip right in. Okay. Okay. We'll load this in here. Same thing, kind of slide it in place. The top should slide right in. That is all new pads and rotors there. Let's go ahead, let's get the caliper back on. Back over. Being mindful of our bushings. Okay. That will do you. One more thing I want to do is I want to bleed some of the cooked fluid out of here. So I have a bleeder kit I'm going to use. Okay, so this is what I use to bleed my brakes here. This is just a one-way, one-man brake bleed. And I got it hooked up to the bleed valve. So what I'll do is I'll go in there and I'll pump the brakes and I'll pump fluid through the system into my check valve here. So give me just a second. Alright, so we're just going to crack this guy loose. Alright, see the fluid coming out? It's already coming up. Gravity feeding. Just want you to compare. This brake fluid is so dark compared to what it should look like. We'll probably run a quarter bottle through for each one. That way we can get as much of the old fluid out as possible. Now on the other side, I'm gonna have my fan about 1 foot away from me with my music blaring. So you're gonna join me for the rears, but not 2 times for this video, of course. So anyways, I'll see you guys back when we're on the rears. See you. These rear brakes you gotta swivel in, which proved to be interesting. It's easy. We got a 13 millimeter here and here. This guy on, put him right there. Pull those pads. All right, grab our 15. Pull the bracket off. Pull the 2 slides out. Okay. Pull the boots off. Now this is where it gets weird, because you got to spin these in. I just learned this. So we're going to take this caliper bracket, we're going to put it back up here. We're going to bolt these back in. Everything is finger tight. Nothing is being cranked down. Okay, so now all that's bolted together. Now we need to take a clamp. Okay. Now we're just going to clamp the assembly together. Alright. So it doesn't fall apart. And then take these guys, we stick them in the grooves, we push and we turn. And that's what worked for the other side. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Oh. Okay. No, it's gonna be easy. I think we gotta get that guy all the way down till it's flush. Ugh. Alright, now we're going to tighten this caliper bracket back up. Those things suck. I'm going to have to get the kit for it, I guess. But I did figure it out without it. Okay. And those are done. Remember, boys and girls, baddest impact you can buy, lowest setting. Send it. Oh, send them forward. It works better. I've never had a wheel fall off. Well, I hope that was just as much fun for you as it was for me. As you can tell, I'm drenched in sweat. It's another beautiful day here in Florida, and I'm out.